Today I continue my morally questionable quest to rank every Pokemon by how much I would like to eat them. Today we're going to be ranking the exactly 100 Pokemon from Generation 2. Same rules as last time, so I'll take this as an excuse to use the same footage. The factors we will take into consideration are 1. How edible is it? So obviously a lot of steel types will not be ranking very high as they are made of metal, and I cannot eat metal. Pokemon I can technically eat despite the risks will rank higher than Pokemon I cannot. 2. Required preparation. A Pokemon I can pick up off the ground and eat raw is going to rank higher than a Pokemon that is going to take significant preparation, cooking, and additional ingredients. 3. How much of the Pokemon is edible? This ties into the last one, but a Pokemon like Squirtle is going to lose points because of the hard, inedible shell. I will also be factoring the amount of food, different types of food, and number of preparations for each Pokemon. 4. How good do I think it will taste? Unless I have a reason to believe otherwise, I'm going to be baseline assuming most Pokemon will taste good in some way. And finally 5, I will be mostly going off vibes, but I will refer to the Pokedex when necessary or funny. Now while these are not hard set categories, here's a brief overview of what you can expect from each tier. F tier, Pokemon I cannot eat. A lot of steel types, a lot of rock types. D tier, Pokemon that will cause great discomfort or death when consumed, so expect a lot of poison types to land here. C tier, Pokemon that I could eat, but I don't think would be very good or worth the effort. B tier, Pokemon that I think would make for an average meal and requires additional ingredients. A tier, Pokemon I think would make for a very good meal. S tier, Pokemon that are near made out of food. Let us begin. But before we do that, I have an addendum to part 1. I originally placed Paris and Parasected D tier for the parasitic mushrooms atop them, but I later got this message from my brother. The only one I disagree with is Paris and Parasect. Cordyceps are a type of fungus that take over insect bodies, force the insect to climb trees, and then bloom out of the top of their head to release spores from up high. People do eat these mushrooms, and they are often used in traditional Chinese medicine. There's no scientific evidence to say they're actually particularly good for you, but people do eat them. So as they are crabs that come with edible mushrooms, they will be promoted to A tier. Congratulations. Now then, into Gen 2. Chikorita. Gen 2 hits the ground running with Chikorita. Like Bulbasaur, Chikorita is part of both the grass and monster egg groups, so we're gonna say it's made of tasty, tasty flesh. According to the Pokedex, the leaf on Chikorita's head is a sweet aromatic, which would make for a fantastic ingredient. S tier, bay leaf. Bay leaf is literally named after an ingredient. On top of being a bigger Chikorita, the leaves around its neck have a few conflicting Pokedex entries, but most seem positive. It's said that the aroma can energize people, restore health, make people happy, or make people want to fight. The potential bloodlust aside, I still think it's going to be a pretty great S tier. Meganium. The flowers around Meganium's neck produce a calming aroma, and its breath can magically revive dead plants. Could we cut a carrot in half, have Meganium breathe on it, and get 2 carrots? Probably not, but that doesn't stop it from going in S. Cyndaquil. A small rat capable of producing fire from its back. The small size combined with the organs required to produce the flame leave me concerned about the amount of edible meat we'd be able to get from it. High D. Quilava. Quilava has a similar structure, but it has no flame extruding areas along its back, only on the head and rear. This makes me think that this midsection could be full of delicious ribs, but with the head and rear still being inedible. C tier. Typhlosion. Even bigger and has evolved to lose the rear flame extruders. B tier. Totodile, Croconaw, and Feraligatr. Alligator. B tier. Sentret. A mammalian Pokemon round in nature, but it's said to be extremely cautious, which may make them hard to acquire for consumptional purposes. C tier. Furret. Which appears at first to be a 5'11" long of delectable ferret meat, is actually quite slim and skinny, probably mostly fur with little meat on it. C tier. Hoot Hoot and Noctowl. You ever see an owl without its feathers? Looks appetizing, don't it? D tier. Ladybug. Ladybug is 3 feet long. Think about that. A 3-foot long ladybug. Now consider eating it. Inside that hard exoskeleton is almost 20 pounds of bug meat, except ladybugs don't actually have meat inside, it's more like liquids and organs. It's also said to excrete an aromatic liquid from its legs. Those liquids might be able to be used for something, but I don't imagine the organs would be very good. C tier. Ledian. A bigger ladybug. C tier. Spinarak and Aridos. Some people do eat dried spiders, and I'm not opposed to that, but they are both poison types, so they're going in D. Crobat. Poison type. Going in D with Zubat and Golbat, Chinchou, and Lantern. I still think electric types would have good tasting meat, and this is just a fish. Probably pretty good if you can fish them up. A tier. Pichu. Do you have qualms about eating a baby Pokemon? I don't. Although its meat may be tender, it isn't plentiful. I'm more quantity than quality when it comes to food. C tier, Cleffa and Igglybuff. Similar case with Pichu, but for Clefairy and Jigglypuff. B tier, Togepi. According to the Dex, Togepi's shell is filled with happiness. As happiness-filled as it may be, I'm not too keen on eating eggshells, but that won't stop me from boiling it. C tier, Togetic. Togetic is said to appear before kind-hearted, caring people. I just said I would boil its young. I'm not getting a chance to eat Togetic. F tier, Natu, the chicken nugget. A tier, Xatu, the chicken nuggets. A tier, Mareep, Flaffy, and Ampharos. The Dex says that Flaffy has a rubbery skin that stops it from electrocuting itself, which I imagine applies to the other two. The fleece is extremely conductive, which might make it unusable for clothes, but perhaps usable for electronics. Not food, but good to consider, but at the end of the day, it's sheep. A tier, Bellossom. Bellossom is complicated because it evolves from Gloom, but loses the poison type when it does. But at the end of the day, I'm not a big flower eater. C tier. Also, the Dex says that the smellier a Gloom is when it evolves, the prettier its flowers will be. Not really important, but I figured I'd mention it. Marill and Azumarill. Basically a blue Pikachu. A tier, Sudowoodo. What appears to be an inedible tree is actually an inedible rock. F tier, Politoed. Frog. A tier, Hoppip, the cotton weed Pokemon. I haven't been known to scrounge around outside for weeds to eat, and despite what my doctors might tell you, I'm not the one eating all their cotton balls. Hoppip is light and it can get carried away by a light breeze. Overall, nothing to love. D tier. Skiploom and Jumpluff, more the same. D tier. Apom. A monkey with not a lot of meat on it. What makes it purple? Is it grape flavored? C tier. Sunkern. Despite sunflower seeds being an actual foodstuff that people eat, somehow a giant one just doesn't appeal to me. B tier, Sunflora. My high-pitched singing voice might suggest otherwise, but I am not a chipmunk. I don't want to eat an entire sunflower. D tier, Yanma. Same thing as Ledaba, an exoskeleton with no meat. C tier, Wooper. Wooper, my baby, I could never eat you. That aside, it does coat itself with a gooey toxic film while on land, so D tier. Quagsire. Quag doesn't have the same toxic film mentioned in the Dex, but it still learns toxic naturally, so it's also going in D tier. Espeon and Umbreon. Going with the other evolutions in B tier, Murkrow. It is said that when chased, it lures its attacker onto dark mountain trails where the foe will get lost. Speaking of which, where am I? D tier? Slowking. So while Slowpoke may be a delicacy, the toxins from the Shelder cause it to become extremely intelligent. Might have to reconsider Shelder, but before that, I don't think I would be comfortable eating something that is actively trying to solve the mysteries of the world. D tier? Mischievous. Can't eat ghosts. Also, it's the Screech Pokemon, so it's just gonna yell at me when I try. F tier, Unknown. We have another Diglett situation, as what these guys are is quite literally unknown. Maybe we can glean something from their egg group. Unknown is part of an unknown egg group. Well, that makes sense, but it doesn't help. As much as I want to turn them into alphabet soup, they're just gonna have to go in question mark tier. Wobbuffet. F tier, Girafarig. Giraffe meat. I'm conflicted. The tiny tail on its head keeps watch while it sleeps and makes it hard to sneak up on it, so acquiring the meat may prove difficult for what at the end of the day is giraffe meat. But the tail head has its own tiny brain, which my gut tells me would be a delicacy delight worth the trouble. B tier? I don't know. Pineco. It's a bomb! Fortress. Its entire body is shielded by a steel-hard shell. What lurks inside the armor is a total mystery. If no one has ever gotten in there, I'm probably not. F tier, Dunsparce. Call me crazy, but this thing is food. I don't know how to explain it, but this guy, edible. A tier, Gligar. Not a poison type, but the Dex says it flies straight at its target's face and clamps down on the startled victim to inject poison. D tier, Steelix. It's got steel in the name. You put a metal coating on the already inedible Onyx. F tier, Snubbull and Granbull. Dogs. B tier, Quillfish. Poison. D tier. And that's all the poison types in Gen 2. Yeah, Gen 1 had 33 poison type Pokemon, making 22% of all Gen 1 Pokemon poison type. But Gen 2 only has 4 poison types for a whopping 4%. Guess they really had to cut back after overdoing it in Gen 1. Scizor. Scizor has a steel-hardened body, but according to its Pokedex entry from Sun, it uses its wings to adjust its body temperature. Otherwise, its metal body would become too hot and melt in the heat of battle. Maybe we could melt it to get to the meat inside, but according to Legends Arceus, its shell is stronger than forged steel, and steel melts at roughly 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. So overall, I don't really love our chances of successful extraction without incinerating the meat inside. Shuckle. This rock bug type may not be too appetizing on its own, but berries stored in its shell turn into delicious juices. S tier. Heracross, a big bug for a big B tier. Sneasel, the sharp claw Pokemon. Not much meat and I'd probably cut myself trying to prepare it. C tier. Teddiursa, bear meat plus its paws are sweetened from being soaked in honey, which may make them a tasty treat. A tier. A lot of Dex entries mention honey, but Combee and Vespiquen weren't added until Gen 4. Where was all this honey coming from? Hi, I'm editing, and actually as it turns out, while I was doing that, I read Teddiursa's Emerald Pokédex entry, which says, it licks its palms that are sweetened by being soaked in honey. A Teddiursa makes its own honey by blending fruits and pollen collected by Beedrill. So I guess that answers that. I also completely forgot about Beedrill until just now. Hi, I'm editing too. What are they actually talking about? Because that's not how honey is made at all. How does a bear make honey? Honey is made from bees regurgitating nectar. How does a bear make it out of fruit and pollen? Ursaring. More meat but has lost its sweetened paws. B tier. Slugma. This thing is literally made of molten lava. F tier, easily. It's also going to win the prize for least edible Gen 2. Lava might be one of the least edible things ever. Magcargo. Slugma's evolved form doesn't fare much better. Its shell is actually made of hardened and charred skin, so maybe I could gnaw on that? Probably wouldn't be very pleasant, but it gives it a point above Slugma. F tier. Also, the dex says its body temperature is roughly 18,000 degrees Fahrenheit, but I've chosen to ignore that. Swinub and Pillowswine. The pig and swine Pokemon. That's all I need to hear. A tier. Corsola.
How about a big piece of steamed coral?
Oh yeah, great. Nutritious.
F tier. Remoraid. Fish. A tier. Octillery. Octopus. A tier. Delibird. Or is it Delibird? You know what's in that bag that's also its tail? Food, apparently, that it shares with people. What kind of food? Where does it come from? I do not know, but that won't stop me from giving it an S tier. Mantine. Manta Ray? B tier? Skarmory. Metal Bird. F tier. Houndour. It's smart enough to hunt in packs, but not smart enough to not get hunted by me. B tier. Houndoom. The flames it breathes when angry contain toxins. If they cause a burn, it will hurt forever. I guess I could still technically eat it. D tier? Kingdra. Seadra placed in D for having toxic spines and the poison point ability, but Kingdra has swift swim, not poison point, and its dex entry makes no mention of poison. B tier. Phanpy and Donphan. Despite its small size, Phanpy is strong enough to lift an adult human, meaning its muscles are likely very dense, which I imagine doesn't make for high quality meat. Same goes for Donphan, it can take a house down with a single tackle. C tier. Porygon 2. So they've streamlined the computer code. Let me know when the spaghetti code becomes actual spaghetti. F tier. Stantler. Venison. A tier. Smeargle. A special fluid oozes from the tip of its tail. Gross. C tier. Tyrogue and Hitmontop. Both are going in C with Chan and Lee for the same reason. Smoochum. Oh god, it's Jynx's pre-evolution. C, get me out of here. Elekid. Kid or not, I'm gonna eat it. B tier with Electabuzz. Magme. Same thing. A tier with Magmar. Miltank. A cow. Beef and milk. What more can we really ask for? S tier and the award for most edible in Gen 2. Blissey. The evolved form of Chansey, who you may remember as our #1 pick from Gen 1 because according to its dex entries, it lays multiple nutritious and delicious eggs a day. Let's see what Blissey says. Blissey senses sadness with its fluffy coat of fur. Wait, that's fur? Oh, here it is. Anyone who takes even one bite of Blissey's egg becomes unfailingly caring and pleasant to everyone. That sounds like a cognito hazard. C tier? Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. Are these not just bigger evolutions? B tier. Larvitar, the rock skin Pokemon. It eats dirt. D tier. Pupitar, the hard shell Pokemon. Its shell is as hard as sheetrock. D tier. Tyranitar, the armor Pokemon. Its body can't be harmed by any sort of attack. D tier. Maybe I can eat the tongue or something? Lugia. I'm not sure it's a great idea to eat the Guardian of the Seas. C tier. Ho-Oh. Nashville Hot Chicken, on the other hand here, A tier. Celebi. Onion. S tier. That does it for Gen 2. Our big winner for today is Miltank, which I could have sworn was from Gen 3, and Slugma, which is just a living pile of lava. I'd really appreciate it if you liked the video, and if you made it this far, you should subscribe so you don't miss the next exciting installment. It really helps out a ton. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.